Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hungry Herbivore podcast. I am your host, the Hungry Herbivore, and it's been another minute. Back in March, I said, yes, I'm going to do a podcast every single week. Yes, I'm going to produce content every single week. And COVID-19 came swooping in and said, not today, baby, not today. So, we've had a podcast. Have we had a podcast since March? I don't think so. I think middle of March, early March was the last time that we had a podcast. So we're going to get back on the horse in the swing of things and try to release a podcast every single week. By the way, how are you doing? How is life for you? For me, for us, it's been crazy trying to navigate this new world that we're all experiencing, trying to find freaking toilet paper. Who the hell has all the damn toilet paper? Seriously. I have to buy that 69-cent garbage at the big box store. That lasts my family exactly 30 minutes. Ugh. Anyway, I digress, as Sophia Petrilla would say in The Golden Girls. By the way, should we do a Golden Girls podcast? That would be so much fun. So back in March, at the end of my last podcast, I said that we would be making, during the next week's podcast, wild rice soup, a creamy wild rice soup. And that would have been perfect for March in cooler weather. So I gave it some thought, and I decided that, yes, we are going to do the creamy wild rice soup, because it is freaking delicious. I give it 5 chomps, y'all. 5 chomps. And typically when I make this, I like to have a nice side salad with a lot of vegetables, a lot of kale and spinach. And I like to have a warm French baguette to kind of round out the meal. So I got this recipe from the website Forks Over Knives. And if you go to forksoverknives.com, there's a recipe tab. And they have baked recipes, they have breakfasts, they have burger, quote-unquote, burger and wraps, pasta. They got a lot of great recipes. Some of them are really complicated with a lot of ingredients and take a lot of time and take ingredients that, honestly, I've never heard of. So I kind of stay away from those recipes. But this creamy wild rice soup is delicious, and it's very easy. It's so easy, you could have the kids do it. How about that? Have the kids get in the kitchen and make this wild rice soup. Super easy. So prep time for this is going to be 20 minutes, and then it's going to be ready in an hour and 15 minutes. It makes about 6 cups. It's going to feed a family of 4 with some leftovers. So here is what you're going to need. You're going to need 4 cups of vegetable stock. And I typically like to put a little bit more vegetable stock in this soup. So I will put a carton and a half of vegetable stock. You're going to need 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. And again, I like to put a little bit more in to make it a little bit more hearty. So I typically use 16 ounces of sliced mushrooms. Then you're going to want to get wild rice, uncooked wild rice. You're going to need 3/4 cup of wild rice. You're also going to need 4 cloves of minced garlic. You're going to need a red bell pepper. You're going to need a couple of carrots, some sea salt. This recipe calls for almond flour and chickpea flour, a 1/4 cup of each. And I understand that pretty much everybody that's listening to this podcast right now don't have chickpea flour and almond flour in their pantry. So if you have the white flour, just go ahead and use that, and use a 1/2 cup of white flour. And you're also going to need white wine vinegar. And I guess you really don't need the white wine vinegar. If you have it, go ahead and use it. This is an ingredient that is thrown in at the end of the recipe, right before serving. And I've made it with and without the vinegar. And honestly, I can't tell the difference. So if you have the white wine vinegar, go ahead and use it. All right, so first of all, you're going to get a big 5-quart soup pot. You're going to want to put in your vegetable stock. Again, it's 4 cups of vegetable stock, or like I like to use a little bit more, a carton and a half of vegetable stock. Throw in your mushrooms, your sliced mushrooms. Throw in 3/4 cup of uncooked wild rice, and then throw in your garlic, 4 cloves of minced garlic. You're going to put your pot on high heat, get it to a boil. Once it starts boiling, reduce your heat to medium-low and make sure you cover it and let it simmer, baby. We're going to simmer for about 45 minutes or until the rice starts to pop, like the kernels start to pop open. After 45 minutes or until the rice starts to pop, you're going to want to stir in your diced peppers, your chopped up carrots. Now, the recipe calls for a cup of chopped red bell pepper, which is about a medium-sized pepper, and a half cup of chopped carrots. I don't measure. It drives people in my house crazy when I don't measure, but I just kind of go with the flow, whatever moves me in the moment. So I typically chop up probably 2 carrots and throw that in the pot. So your chopped pepper, your chopped carrot, and then take your sea salt and do a couple of grinds of the sea salt and stir that up and let that cover and simmer for about 8 more minutes until the peppers and the carrots start to get tender. You don't want them super soggy, super soft, just when they're starting to get tender, because it gives it a nice texture in the soup when they're not super soggy or super soft. After that 8 minutes, you're going to take your half cup of flour and put that into a small bowl, and then take a 1/4 cup of water and mix it with the flour in that small bowl, and then take that mixture and throw it into the pot, and then cook and stir constantly for a couple of minutes, 1 to 2 minutes, or until your soup starts to get thick and bubbly. Now, if you have that white wine vinegar, this is where you're going to want to throw it in. After that couple of minutes of stirring constantly, take a tablespoon of white wine vinegar and throw that in and stir that up, and you are ready to dish up. Again, I like to have a side salad of kale and spinach and lots of vegetables, and then a nice warm, soft French baguette to serve with this soup. And that's pretty much it. It's super easy, and it's so delicious. It's so good. It's so filling as well. It's 5 chops in my book here on The Hungry Herbivore. Now, coming up next week, if aliens don't land, we are going to make something that I call a Sunday morning breakfast hash attack. It's the Sunday morning breakfast hash attack. We're going to make that. It's so good. It's got potatoes, and I love potatoes. You know, you can sleep in on Sunday, wake up, start making this hash attack, and have it as a late morning breakfast or a brunch or something like that. Have some mimosas with it. Why not? It's Sunday. So we're going to be doing that next week if we're not attacked by murder hornets. Have you heard that story? Ugh. All right, so that's it. That is your creamy wild rice soup with a side salad and a nice warm French baguette. Until next week, here is wishing you delicious eats.